What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the new year of the Dial-In. The first episode of anything on this channel, actually. And it's been a little while, so I'm glad to be back here sitting with you yet again. Things probably look a little different. I moved the machine over here. It's a little bit more efficient for my kitchen. Also, there is a grinder missing. So the Baratza that I've been using for a very long time, almost 10 years at this point, I decided to send off and get the whole service done by Baratza. So it's going to be there for a couple of weeks. They're going to take a look at it and basically do a full refurb. Someone in my family had this done on their Encore, and they basically just gutted the whole thing, replaced all the parts, and then sent it back. So they had effectively a brand new grinder out of the situation. So I'm pretty excited, and I can't wait to see what happens when it finally does come back. For now, though, I did want to try something that I haven't done in a long time, and that is grinding for espresso with this little Hario hand grinder. Now, I've done this in the past, a really long time ago, way before this channel, or really before I even started working in coffee. But I know that I was able to get at least one decent shot out of this, so I'm hoping that maybe there will be one or two, maybe three usable settings. I think that's pretty optimistic, but who knows? It's been a little while. I know people have been successful with this sort of thing in the past with obviously more expensive grinders like the Comandante. But I know that these conical ceramic burrs do create a lot of fines, so I wouldn't be surprised if we can at least get something that is usable. And if not, we can kind of go from there and see what sort of extractions we can get, even if it's not your typical sort of 18 grams in, 35 grams out in 25 seconds, or something along those lines. So basically what I'm going to do is take this thing apart and for those of you who are not familiar with these, I'll try and get a little bit close up of this later, but there's these little notches in here, and each of these is a step that you can turn to adjust the grind coarser and finer. These steps are honestly pretty big, but what I'm going to do is take this all the way until the burrs are touching and I can't move it anymore. So we are about there, and I'm going to take this little guy which locks in those grind settings, and just see what and just see what one turn past touch will get me. Okay, so this is all set up and good to go, hopefully. This is a good time to talk about the coffee that I picked out. This is from, let's get focus on that. Sorry, I couldn't get the little sticker totally off on this, but this is Thread Coffee Roasters. They're a local roaster in Baltimore. Great roaster. I haven't had a lot of coffee from them lately, so I'm excited to try this. This is the May 68 Espresso blend, which I think, based on the roast level and the descriptions that are on here, and I say roast level because I've made a couple pour-overs with this week, so it's definitely a little bit more developed in terms of just, something that might work well with this kind of situation. All right, let's try that all over again. One benefit of this grinder is that there is pretty much no retention to speak of. Once you grind 17.5, you're going to be pretty sure that you're going to get 17.5 grams out. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to do 17.5 grams, which is about what this basket we'll take. This is, I believe, the stock basket that came with the Rocket Jodo, which I think can comfortably hold, depending on the coffee that you're using, 18 grams. Maybe you can fit 19 grams in here. I've got a couple bigger baskets, and actually I have a new basket on the way, a little precision basket, giving this guy a little glow up this year. Excited about that. But anyways, for now, let's take a look at the clock. It's 3:33 p.m. Oh, 3:34 p.m. just now. So we'll see how long this takes for me to grind a espresso dose with the hand grinder. Yeah, so quick tip if you ever want to try this. This does not give you much leverage. I think it was in the 4-Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss. He suggests putting this at sort of this angle against your leg while you're sitting down. Get some good posture. Don't slouch unless you want to slouch. That's fine. But anyways, yeah, about this angle. And then you couldn't see it because it's just off camera. But that's about the angle that'll get you the most leverage, and you can switch arms when you get tired. But yeah, let me see if I can get with my little B camera, little shot of the grounds from here. So that's what we're looking at. If we can get focused, that would be great. Yeah, pretty clumpy, but we'll see. Should I do this? Should I do this sitting down? Maybe. It feels weird to make espresso sitting down. You know what? I'm going to get a canning funnel. BRB? Okay, yeah, so I don't have one of those shock collars or whatever they're called, but I do have one of these. Fits right in there if you've got 58 millimeters. Come on. I said zero retention, but we'll see. There's a little bit there just from how clumpy these guys are. $17.3. All right, I got up to 17.4, so we'll take that. Let's go ahead and fire the shot away. Wow, my mise en place is a mess with this grinder. I don't know what I'm doing. Ooh, very firm. Okay. always clean your portafilter. Okay, well, that took a while. I stopped it at 21 grams out, and that was about a minute and 15. My timer didn't start right away, so honestly, it was probably about a minute 20. But let's see how that goes. So, we were one step essentially off of touch with this little Hario grinder, and that was fine enough to pretty much choke the machine off. I did like a little bit of a blooming shot. I've got a video on that here that I do kind of specifically with the E61. But let's see how this tastes. I'm not expecting this to be great, but who knows? Hey, this angle is in better proximity to my sink. Ha! Maybe I won't get so caffeinated on this little series of videos this time. It's actually not bad. It's really, really strong. It's actually, not quite as in your face as I would have expected. Certainly not something I would want to sit here and drink, but I mean, this is definitely not an ideal shot at all. However, it does make me really optimistic. That's a lot better than I thought it was going to taste, and we might actually have a little bit more room to play on this grinder than I originally thought. So I'm going to go one step coarser and see where that gets us. Clean up my little cup. All right, 17.5 grams. Again, let's make sure everything's cleared out. We'll weigh this out and we'll start grinding again. All right, here we go. I'm gonna go at a 45-degree angle on the leg, and off we go. Make sure you get every last little bit in there. Okay, here we go. 17.5 grams in is what we're looking for. Nothing touching. Oh, there's a bean under there. There's a bean under the scale. Anyways, must stand up. You can't sit down and tamp. This is just like unacceptable. All right, so that one was 26 grams out in about 23 seconds. So like I said, these steps on the Hario grinder, and I think most of these hand grinders are pretty big. Though I don't really have personal experience with many of the other ones. This is just kind of my experience with this particular one. But generally the mechanisms are fairly similar, so I would expect unless somebody actively went out of their way to make a stepless hand grinder that you're probably going to end up with some degree of, fairly large steps. But let's see how this one turned out. The smell is much better. It doesn't just smell like, I think hot soy sauce is something that comes to mind whenever I have like a really intense shot of espresso that's very clearly been over extracted. And it's kind of sandy and gritty. It just kind of just smells very earthy. The smell's very sweet. A little bit of like baking spice, maybe cinnamon. Pretty good. Honestly, like I would take it. It's a little bit sour, just like a tiny, tiny bit sour. Obviously, like we can't go any coarser on this, and we can't really split the difference going finer in the other direction. Otherwise, we'll be where we were for that first shot, which was over a minute, almost a minute and a half, versus this one, which was just under half a minute. Yeah, it's getting a little sour as it cools. Hey, Momo. You're going to grind the next shot for me so I don't have to? It's hard work. Okay. So what can we do in this situation? We've got, we've been doing 17.5 gram shots. We had a shot that was over a minute and a half. Not very drinkable. We had a shot that was about 23 seconds. Much, much better, but a little bit sour. So, if you have the capability to adjust the flow rate on your machine, you could drop the flow a little bit. That might help, drop the pressure. I'm going to do an experiment coming up on this machine with pressure pretty soon. I ordered a little Espresso, E61 pressure gauge for up here. So that should be very, very interesting, and I'm looking forward to kind of playing around with that in the next couple of weeks. So probably, at the end of the month, I might have something out on that. But for now, what are we going to do? I basically have just control over dose weight and time at this point. Actually, I don't really have that much control over time because I just have those two grind settings to play with. But I can adjust the dose weight. I could go up a little bit. I could go up to 18 grams and see if that helps me with this coarser grind, kind of slowing down the flow rate and getting us up to maybe a 25-second, 28-second shot. So I'm going to pause for a second and maybe take one more sip of this. Yeah, honestly not bad. Like I've had shots served to me that were like this that I enjoyed. They're not the best thing in the world, but certainly nothing to complain about, which for a $30 hand grinder on a machine like this is much better than I would have expected. So I'm gonna put in 18.3 just to account for the fact that there might be a little bit of grind retention from just ground sticking to the inside from static and whatnot. It is wintertime, so maybe in the summer this is not as big of a problem when you're out camping and stuff, which is usually what I would use this sort of thing for. But anyways, here we go. I'm realizing I'm not using the little top for this thing, which might also be accounting for some of the grind loss. I did see a little tiny chunk of bean fly. Actually, I see a whole bean down there. Yep. All right, so again, this is going to be 18 grams in, and we'll see what happens on the way out. But hopefully getting something a little bit north of 24 or 25 seconds. Let's make sure there's no beans under the scale. I had to reweigh everything on the last shot because there was something in the way. Oh, let me get a shot. Let me get another shot of these grounds. I had my camera on a strange setting before, but now it's better. Yeah, a little clumpy, but honestly not bad. All right, so I'm going to roll with 18.1 in here. Comment down below if you do this sort of thing with a niche or anything else where you kind of grind into a cup and then dose out and have to do this sort of thing. This is not part of my routine, so I'm really curious, if you have any comments about that. I know there's lots of different opinions out there. And again, this is me sort of just winging it while I'm waiting for my grinder to come back. There are, I think, some videos from Lance Hendrick out there who go into a little more detail about like stuff like WDT and things like that, which are super interesting, and you should definitely check out if that is something that you want to work into your routine. Okay, so that was 18 grams in, or 18.1 grams in, I guess I should say. And then we ended up with about 26 grams out, 26 seconds. So I did run it just a touch longer, but if you look at that shot side by side, I think you'll see that it was a little bit of a slower flow getting started. So definitely was able to slow the flow down. And getting a little bit of like a heavier sort of palette. Is that how you would say it on the nose? It's not quite as bright and not quite as like vibrant, but I don't want to say chalky because that isn't really it. But there's a little bit more like kind of dark fruit flavors coming through. Not quite as much of like the chocolate and spice sort of thing. Generally like a more well-rounded, less like, bright kind of top tier flavors coming through on the nose. I'm gonna let that one sit for a second because what I was smelling and what I tasted were pretty different. Which makes me think that I should let it cool down a little bit before I start running my mouth. Yeah, okay. So this is much better. It's still pretty bright, but there's a lot more body to the shot. It's not nearly as sour. There is something in there that's just like a little bit of like a just like a little bit of like the inside, like the pith of a lemon, just like that little bit of like kind of dry acidic flavor, but it's not overwhelming at all, and I kind of actually don't mind it. If I wasn't sitting here like really like hyper fixating on this little cup, I'd probably be, perfectly content. And as you can see, I just finished it, so yeah, not bad. Honestly, like with something like this, I'd probably lean more towards running a longer shot, maybe going up to 30 and making Americano with it. If I were gonna do this again, I'd probably go for like a cortado cappuccino, add a little bit of milk to it, just to kind of balance out that little bit of acidity that's kind of creeping out. But overall, a lot tastier than I was expecting from this little grinder. And honestly, happy to drink this espresso anyway. I mean, I just drank that one and basically drank most of the previous one. It was just the first one that was totally like not gonna fly, not gonna work. So yeah, cool. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope to get some more coffee from Thread again and run it through here when I have my grinder back, and I can give it more of a it's my focus just like leave for a second, probably because I brought this in, and really get into it a little bit more. Though this has been really nice as like a pour over for the last like, I'd say half week or so since I picked it up. So thanks again so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this little video with oh my gosh, with the Hario. It doesn't have the bottom on it. I don't know where it is. I don't know where anything is right now because this is not my usual setup and I feel a little bit crazy, but that's okay because I'm done grinding for espresso on this hand grinder. Thank you again. Thank you so much also if you've left a comment on the channel over the last couple of months. It really means a lot. 2021 I know was a tough year for a lot of people. It definitely was a tough year for me. But I'm definitely looking forward to having some more fun with coffee and with this channel over the next couple of months. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button and you feel compelled to, you will definitely see some more things from me in the coming weeks. And if you wouldn't mind giving this video a little like, it certainly helps. Of course, if you don't like it, then hit the dislike button. Whatever. It's it's there for you. Actually, wait, there's no dislike button anymore. YouTube got rid of it. Never mind. So don't do that. So until next time, I hope you all are well, and I will see you then. Peace. Do you want coffee?